Welcome to Saving the Investor with certified financial planner, investment advisor, and insurance professional Alfie Townsend, president of Advantage Retirement Group.
Good morning, Southwest Florida. You are listening to Saving the Investor radio show. I am Alfie Townsend, Southwest Florida certified financial planner professional, and I am here with Jason Jones, a special guest today. We are honored to have you to the show. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you for having me. I am Jason Jones, and this is Saving the Investor with certified financial planner, professional Alfie Townsend. If you're focused on preserving wealth, protecting your legacy, and enjoying life here in Southwest Florida paradise, you're in the right place. So lean in. We have a big show today. And right after the market update, Alfie is taking you on a hot topic everyone's talking about. Is cash really king, or has it given up its crown? But first, something exclusively for our high-end net worth listeners. It's Alfie's High Net Worth Toolkit, crafted for affluent retirees and pre-retirees who want to elevate every part of their financial strategy. Inside, you'll receive a complimentary copy of Alfie's book, Making Waves in Retirement, and we only have 9 copies set aside for today's listeners. You also get advanced guides on tax-smart investing, estate and legacy planning, large IRA strategies, charitable giving opportunities, and more. Claim yours right now. Text KIT to 239-747-1077. Again, that's KIT to 239-747-1077. And one more time, text KIT to 239-747-1077. Let's get started. Saving the Investor begins right now. Alfie, we dive into today's topics. There's a lot happening in today's markets, from delayed job data to Fed uncertainty and these new inflation signals. Can you break down what investors need to know this morning and what it means for retirees here in Southwest Florida?
Well, again, good morning and welcome to the show. And we had delays, Jason, as you know, with job data, with the government being closed down for, 42, 43 days. And now they were released. So the good thing about it is they were only supposed to be like 50,000, jobs that were supposed to be created. And the good thing about it, it ended up adding 119. So more than double what they were expecting for September. So that is a good thing. Now, it's a good thing and it's sort of a bad thing because the feds, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. If that was like 40,000 or hardly any jobs created, you would probably have a better chance of the feds lowering interest rates next month. But now it looks like it was just a month ago it was 92% chance of it being lowered. 92%. Then it dropped to 70. Now it's 40.
Wow.
So it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. So we're not getting another rate drop.
Not in December. Now next year we'll see how the economy goes. And, everybody is talking about the economy. And, Trump's ratings are down a little bit. Inflation is still the number one thing on people's plate. It hasn't come down, but, he's only been in office, 10, 11 months. He cannot fix everything right up. But the tax cut that he did really goes into effect January. And Scott Best said, he talks about this. You're going to see first quarter, second quarter next year, all this money that's coming in, trillions and 13 trillion, that has to do something to the economy.
Absolutely, and I'm hoping that we can see that boost happen sooner than later. I know a lot of people are as well. What's some of the things that'll help make that happen?
Yeah, well, money is king, and we're going to talk a little bit about money. But when you have money coming in, it's going to create jobs. And you were talking to Rick Scott and Byron Donalds last week, and it was all about jobs. That's what Rick Scott, and he knows how to create jobs, and that's what it's all about. So we have to create jobs, and with AI, it's going to take jobs, but it's going to create jobs too.
Right. And it's going to create jobs in the power sector. It'll create jobs with people that have to operate the AI. AI can't operate itself.
Yeah.
So it pays. I tell everybody, make sure you're ahead of that game. Make sure that tech game you're with in today's day and age.
Yeah, and people might have to get re-educated, change jobs, change careers, but that's okay. Change is good. I always say change is constant. You got to have it. And like when computers first came out, in the 70s, people were freaking out. They were saying, hey, it's going to take our jobs, just like AI is going to take our jobs. And look what it has done. It has created a lot of jobs. Now, AI, there's more, I think, good, hopefully, than bad, but there's some crazy things. But let's talk a little bit about, unemployment rate did tick up a little bit, 4.4 from 4.3, so that's not too bad. But we did have, a little tick up in unemployment. But again, jobs created was better than really anticipated. So the Feds will be meeting again, and like we said, there is probably a better chance of it not being a rate cut, and that was priced in. So how it works is, most people know that the markets look ahead. They're not looking at what happened today. They're looking ahead. So they were priced in, few weeks ago, that we were going to have a rate cut over a month ago, because that's when it was at 92%.
Right.
So now all of a sudden the market has had some volatility, right? This week was volatile. We had a good day on Thursday because we had good numbers. We're going to talk about NVIDIA. But with that being said, they're having to take back the pricing that they priced in already. So those stocks were priced in, and now all of a sudden, we're not going to have rate increase. So it's going to cost more to do business. So they had to take it back out.
Okay.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Right.
They gave it, they got to take it back. So we had some good, I don't think if we would have had higher percentage, like 90%, we probably would not have had that setback that we had at the beginning of the week. The first part of the week, it was pretty bad. But we talk about NVIDIA. NVIDIA is really, that runs AI. I'm going to probably save this for our next segment, but NVIDIA is really AI. If you look at what's the number one stock for AI, it's really NVIDIA. And so if that does good, then Wall Street looks at it and says, well, you know what? They're making money, so maybe it's not a bubble. Maybe there's something to this AI. And if there is something to this AI, because now you have Meta, you have Google, you have all these companies that are dumping in so much money. We talked about, energy. You need energy to run AI. And like you said, Jason, these are the jobs that are going to be created. It's going to be energy. It's going to be, that's going to be huge right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. I mean, you're going to have to
nuclear.
Right, nuclear. Exactly. You've got to bring in that nuclear power. You're going to have to bring in more workers, and that's going to bring up those jobs that AI is going to create.
And you're going to see renewable energy. So, I'm reading on, there's a great book with Tony Robbins that's interviewing all these people that, these hedge fund managers that are dealing with energy and what they're doing with energy right now, how they're creating it and how they're reusing it, with that renewable energy, and how they're going to make little nuclear plants, but smaller ones, not these giant ones. So, it's going to create jobs. So we're going to talk a little bit about, not a little bit, we're going to talk about NVIDIA. But until then, I'm going to have Jason let you know how you can get a hold of us.
I can't wait. Talking about NVIDIA is going to be awesome. A lot has changed in the markets, and making good decisions starts with understanding your options. A focused 15-minute conversation with our team can help you see what's working, what's not, and where you can improve. Text 15 to 239-747-1077. One more time, text the number 15 to 239-747-1077. 1077.
Thanks, Jason. And with that, that 15-minute phone call, what happens is we feel is better for you. Look, a lot of people don't like to come into the office. A lot of people say, hey, you know what? I don't want to show everything until I have that conversation. So that's what that 15-minute phone call is. You're just calling. We're going to ask you some questions. You're going to ask us some questions and say, hey, is there something that we can help you with? In that 15 minutes, we can ask you pertinent questions to see if we can put you in a better position. That's the bottom line. Can we put you in a better position? And a lot of times we can put you in a better position because we focus on reducing taxes. We focus on income planning. And really, as a certified financial planner, it's a lot of people when they come and they don't have an income plan, they might be taking income from the whole portfolio. We do it different. We're going to give you income from specific part of a portfolio, and then the other part is going to grow and fight inflation, and inflation's here still. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about NVIDIA. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Saving the Investor. I'm Jason Jones with Certified Financial Planner Professional Alfie Townsend. Before the break, we walked through the latest market updates. Everything from shifting Fed expectations to slowing housing data and those big tech earnings. All of it has real implications for retirees who may be sitting on more cash than usual. And that brings us right now into today's headlines: is cash really king, or has it given up its crown? A lot of retirees here in Southwest Florida are wondering if cash is still the safe haven it once felt like, especially as interest rates continue to fall. So, Alfie, let's jump right into it.
Let's do it. Well, we're going to talk about king is cash and all that good stuff is cash king, but we're going to also talk about NVIDIA like we said we would. NVIDIA is a stock that is really one of these stocks that, a $5 trillion cap. I mean, $5 trillion, which is unheard of. Unheard of. That's more than majority of countries.
Right.
What they own. So it's pretty amazing. Now, how did they start? They really started with, I wish I said I bought it at the very beginning, but I have quite a bit of it, but not like at the very beginning. I had to buy it at a high price to have something. But NVIDIA is, with their chips are so fast, and they started with really the gamers. So the gamers knew all about it because you need a fast chip for all those, gaming games and programs. So that's how they started. Then you know what? That's good for robots. That's good for AI, and because they needed that, and they're just getting faster and faster and faster. So they're way ahead of everybody else. But to run these things, to run AI, you need, like we said, a lot of energy, a lot of things. So NVIDIA right now, they came out with their earnings on Wednesday evening after the bell, and they were up. The revenue was $57 billion in the third quarter. $57 billion. That's crazy.
Right.
And, that was up 22%. And, previous quarters, 62% year to date. So it's just a stock that keeps on giving.
Right.
It really is. We have it in our portfolios for our clients in a couple different portfolios. So, but now their data center, their business alone brought in $51 billion, and that's up 25% for the quarter. So what they're doing is they're doing data centers and they're doing chips. So they're not putting it all in one thing.
Okay.
Which is good.
Right.
Which is good. And
just like your investors shouldn't put all in one thing, right?
Amen on that. Yes. Yeah. So altogether, the forecast revenue. Now this is for the fourth quarter. This is for the next quarter. NVIDIA is forecasting revenue of $65 billion, exceeding the expectation analysts were talking about of $62 billion. So they don't see an end in sight. Now, remember, next year, Trump's tax cuts are going to be happening. That's when people are going to start to see more money in their pocket. And I think that's when things are going to get better. Right now, there's a sentiment of they're not too happy.
Right, because change hasn't happened immediately.
Yeah.
People are on-demand people. That's why they use the text line to text you. They want it now.
Yeah.
They're on-demand people. So it's hard for people to have patience nowadays, and you think they should.
Yeah, you really should. You can make some really bad decisions if you're too rash and you don't give it enough time. So, yeah, Trump is think about what he's doing to create business. I mean, he is doing some amazing things, bringing in $13 trillion, traveling to these different countries to put money into our country. So he's doing everything it can, but it takes time. You don't just, they give you money, but now you have to take that money and put it to use. You have to start building. Building doesn't start right when they give you the money.
Right.
There's permitting, there's planning, there's so
right.
much going
There's a process.
on. There's a big process. So, things are going to start happening, and when it does, I really do think we're going to be in the golden age of our country. I really do. I think we're at that point that we are going to be rocking and rolling, and people are going to be making money. And inflation might be we're at what, 3% right now.
Right.
It's not that bad.
It could be worse.
Could be worse.
Right.
And some things are coming down. He's getting rid of the tariffs on staples like bananas and coffee and things like that people use. And there's, I think, hundreds of items he's getting rid of the tariff. So that's going to help right there. That will help a little bit right there. That will make people feel good. And then, you have people are upset about going in, taking people, with ICE going in these cities and taking, people that came here illegally. And I know it's a bad, you got to think about this. Would people flood China? Would people flood, they flooded Germany. I have a great friend in Germany, Jason, that's a very successful businessman. Germany was it was one of the safest countries you could go visit. He says it's awful right now. They have open borders between all these countries, and they're like number 42 now.
Wow.
He says crime is up so bad, and it's just not looking good.
And you don't hear about that. You don't see that on the mainstream media about all the stuff that's going on in the UK, going on in Germany. You just don't hear about it, and you have to do your own research. You got to look for it, and you'll find it. But you're right, 100%.
But why wouldn't people in these countries or these counties and cities and in our states want to get rid of the criminals that they're getting rid of? Look, if someone's been here 10 years and so, okay, maybe put those aside. Have you been paying taxes? Let's monitor you. Maybe. Okay. But then the ones that came here during the Biden when there was no vetting at all, and they're creating havoc.
I would say this to anyone. I would say you wouldn't want somebody who committed a crime against your own family still in this country if they were illegal. You would want them out. They committed a crime against your family. Understand that most, and I would say most, of these illegals that are being deported are criminals that did a serious crime against somebody.
That are wanted elsewhere. And you don't want them in this country, and you don't want them committing a crime against your own family. So that's perfect,
right.
Because if they're here illegally and they're not wanted in their own state, and then like we got to meet President Trump a couple years ago, right before he became president again, in it was like 4 months before the election, and we were at Mar-a-Lago. We were invited with these. It was. Really some type of charitable thing that we were doing with the special forces,
right,
raising money for them. And there was 27 of us, and he came in the room and he took pictures with all of us. And, he was talking about these countries are getting rid of the insane asylum. The hospitals are letting people go. The jails are letting them go. So we're getting the worst of the worst. Why do we want that?
Right. We didn't even ask for it. We just got it during the last 4 years. It just showed up. The amount of people that flooded our country with our open border, like you were talking about with Germany, was unsurmountable when you talk about it. The fact that
no vetting.
Right. You're talking hundreds of thousands. By the way, 2 million and 1.5 of them have self-deported, just for the record. They left on their own. So more have left on their own than have actually been deported.
Oh, that's good.
Right.
That's good because they know it's, they don't want to be chased down. You're listening to Saving the Investor. I'm Alfie Townsend, Southwest Florida Certified Financial Planner Professional. We have Jason Jones in the house today and helping out. And of course, we have to talk a little politics when that happens. But, we were talking about NVIDIA. But NVIDIA is something, should you have more of it in your portfolio, or should you be, taking some off the plate, or know anything about NVIDIA? So I would recommend you come in and let us look at what you have and see if we can put you in a better position, because there's opportunities out there. And what we do is we're going to look at the whole holistically. We're going to look at your taxes, your income plan. We're going to look at all your different accounts and see if we can put you in a better situation than what you're currently in. Right now, you might really not have the things that are making you the returns that you should be making, and it might be because of fees, it might be because of allocation, it might be because you have the wrong holdings. So let us do a complete what we call a retirement simulator, and we'll look at everything and come out with a plan to see if we can put you in a better position. There's nothing wrong with being in a better position, and especially we're going into a new year right now. just a month and a half away or so. So let's get together, and Jason will let you know how.
If you've been thinking about reviewing your financial plan, there's no better moment than right now. A 15-minute call with Alfie's team will give you a clearer view of your income, your risk, and your long-term strategy. Just text 15 to 239-747-1077. Again, just text the number 15 to 239-747-1077.
That's great, Jason. Thank you. And this is, again, you're coming in to say, hey, listen, this is what I have. What can you do for me? That's a win-win situation. We're not going to charge you for it. We're going to look at it and say, listen, this is what we would do. This is what we do for our clients. We have some income planning that, in the between 8% and as much as 15% to get you income. When you're talking about taking 15%, that leaves a lot of money in the portfolio to sit there and grow. We'll talk a little bit about that 15%, how we get that for you, and then how we really will position your portfolio for growth. So stay tuned. We will be right back. Welcome back to Saving the Investor. I am Alfie Townsend, Southwest Florida Certified Financial Planner Professor, here with Jason Jones. He is filling in, and I appreciate that very much. Our phone number is 239-747-1077. That's 239-747-1077. We really talked about a lot of things today, but one of the things we were talking off the air a little bit about crypto, because I did mention that on a couple times on the show. I think it was this past Monday, and we talked about crypto, and it was down over. Now it's over 35%.
It was 30 on Monday, so it's gone down 5 more since Monday, right?
And from the year, it's 42, I think, 47% down. So this is, over 40% down. So crypto is something that, people ask all the time, should I have? And I tell clients, listen, I don't really mess with it. Now, we'll have some ETF crypto. That's okay. We have like 2.5% in some of the portfolios that we have. But when you're talking about, should I put in a lot of money in crypto? And my good friend Rocky, he says to me, he goes, Alfie, if I know nothing about it, he says, if it doesn't have an 800 number that I can call and complain about or talk to someone about, I don't want anything to do with it. And that's really, I use that all the time because that makes sense. It's very hard. Even people that have crypto, I'll say, can you explain that to me? And they can't.
Oh, I went looking for a crypto expert, and I couldn't get somebody to actually explain it to me either. So a lot of people have a crypto story, but when it comes to understanding it 100%, a lot of people can't.
Well, the stories that I hear, and this is the stories that I hear about crypto, is that it's very, of course, we know how volatile it is, but you have to have passwords and blockchain and all this other stuff. Well, if you want to buy something with it, how do you like clip a piece of your coin off? No, right. You have to have someone that accepts crypto, and then they take it from the blockchain and all that other stuff. But I just feel like it is it's very complicated, and over 20%. Now this was 5 years ago, Jason. Over 20% of the actual crypto Bitcoin is lost. Will never be. There was only 120 million coins made, I think, right. Something like that, give or take. But 20% of it will never be found because they lost their password. It will never be recovered. Never be recovered. So right there, I don't like.
And the guy who threw it into the trash, he threw it into the trash,
and he bought that dump to try
right.
to find it.
Never found it. Never found it.
So he paid all that money to buy that dump.
Right, after he lost all that money in that crypto. It just seems dangerous. And when you talk about a 40% drop, it seems like it's not coming back. I mean, that's what it would look like to me.
Yeah. It might come back. I know Trump is pushing it hard, but, it's one thing about President Trump, when he pushes something like they'll get their own coin, right?
Right.
And then all the boys there are firing it up. And then everybody wants a piece of it. Then after it goes IPO, I think they sell it immediately, right? The Trump sell it immediately. Then it goes down 30% the next day, 40%. And by the end of the week, it's down 30%. So, I just don't, we don't do investments like that here at the Advanced Retirement Group. What we do is we'll put portfolios together. And, I was talking about some of the income plan that we do. We have some investments that are, 8% income and some as high as 15% for our accredited investors. But when we're talking about 15%, if you think about that, if we're able to, let's just say you have a $2 million portfolio and you need $150,000 of income. We could take $1 million of it, put in the 15%, get you your $150,000. But then we have $1 million out for you to invest, for us to invest, and into NVIDIA and Apple's, into these other companies' portfolios, 50 to 100 companies that we can grow your money, fight inflation, but your income is taken care of. Your income is taken care of, and that's what we do. We'll put a plan together for you. But think about if you needed $150,000 with a $2 million portfolio, that's 7.5% they would have to pay you out of that portfolio, the whole portfolio. Well, it's hard to sell stocks like this past week when the market went down. It's hard to sell stocks to pay your 7.5%. Then before you know it, if you have a down market, you need more than 7.5% to give you that $150,000. You're needing 8%, 8.5%, 9%, and that's where the disaster starts to happen. So if you don't have someone that explains how to create income and look at taxes and build a portfolio for you, you might have outgrown your advisor. I always say that you might have outgrown your advisor. Just have an open mind. Give us a call. It doesn't hurt to have a second opinion. When I had to have back surgery, I went and had a second opinion, and it was really, one of my world-renowned doctors, orthopedic doctor, became our client, and he happened to look at my MRI the week of my surgery. I've told this story many times, and he looked at it and told me exactly what the doctor was going to do, and he said, if he says you need a fusion on your back, you need to get another opinion. So when I went to my doctor that next week, I already knew what he was going to say. He said everything my client said, and I said, Doc, do I need a fusion? He said, no. I knew I had the right doctor, right?
Right.
And that's the same thing here. When you come here, you're going to see if everything is situated properly. If it is, you're going to know it, and then you're set up good.
Absolutely.
So that's called a second opinion.
Right. If you are looking for a second opinion, or if you are wanting a retirement if you want your retirement income, your tax strategy, or your legacy planning all working together, it starts with that first conversation. A clear plan brings confidence for you, your family, and your future you're building. Text 15 to 239-747-1077. Again, text the number 15 to 239-747-1077.
Awesome. Yeah, and when you come in, we're going to just look at things for you and just see. You might be situated just perfect. That's a good thing. So let's see how the market is really treating us investors this year. So far, so good. The tech-heavy NASDAQ is outpaced the broader market. They usually do. This year it's at 16%, just over 16%. The S&P is just at right around 13%. Blue chip stocks, which are the Dow, right at 9%. So overall, not a bad return, because last year was good. The year before was good. I think the last bad year was 2022, and that's when everything sort of went down. But again, you have to be in the market to fight inflation. During those years, inflation was high as 9%. Jason, that was jacked up. I mean,
right.
9%.
It's everything costs more at that moment.
Yeah. So I don't see inflation popping up like that again. Trump is really trying to do something about it now, and we'll see. And one thing about President Trump, he reads people very well, and he sees that people aren't happy right now, and he's going to do you see him. Right. He's out there. He's going to do everything he can to make sure that he can get that the midterm election on his side, because that usually doesn't happen, right?
Right. Usually it doesn't happen. And it's an uphill battle for Republicans right now. 100% it is. So, but his hard work, I believe, will pay off. And you're right. He's out there making sure that he can find a way to put money back in everyone's pocket, including taking tariff money and giving everybody $2,000 in the middle of next year. So,
that nice dividend.
Right, a little dividend from the tariffs.
Yeah, and just a little
What a great moment to give your investment portfolio an extra $2,000.
There you
right?
go.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's perfect. So a little dividend won't hurt anybody. So, so we talked about what the market is doing, and really these jobs are holding up pretty good. But like I said, when you have $13 trillion plus, give or take trillions, it's going to have an impact on the economy next year, and it's a positive impact. If you think about $13 trillion during the 4 years, I think Biden only invested $1 trillion over the 4-year period.
Right.
This is in 10 months. He's gotten over, we'll call it over 10 trillion. It's over that.
How excited are you personally about next year?
I'm very excited because I went to California this last month, and we were talking about, and it was with these are billion-dollar investors, and they were talking to a group of financial planners, and they're talking about they're seeing good returns for next year into next year. They see the economy picking up, and I do too. You have to, when you have that much money coming in, like you talked about, you're going to have building going on. You have energy that you need for this AI. So there's a lot of positive things happening, but it doesn't happen overnight. You talked about, people want immediate satisfaction. It doesn't happen that way.
Right.
It just doesn't.
If you'd like to take a deeper dive into your strategies we talk about every week, we have something special for today's listeners. We've set aside a limited number of complimentary copies of Alfie's book, Making Waves in Retirement. It's packed with stories, lessons, and insights from the families Alfie has helped right here in Southwest Florida. To claim your copy, just text BOOK to 239-747-1077. Again, that's BOOK at 239-747-1077.
Perfect. Yeah, they can have a book, or they can call that number for a 15-minute phone call, and that whatever you want, you can have both.
There you go.
You can have both. You can have that 15-minute phone call, and if you say, "Hey, Alfie, you really can't help us," we'll still send you a book. How about that? But I know we'll be able to help you. A lot of people that call, they're very thankful because they didn't know the things that we talk about. We're going to talk a lot more. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Saving the Investor. I'm Jason Jones with certified financial planner and professional Alfie Townsend. We're getting ready to find out if cash is king, but let me give you the phone number that you can call to get a hold of Alfie anytime. 239-747-1077. That's 239-747-1077. Alfie, thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Enjoy it. So let's talk about, is cash really king?
Is it? I want to know. I mean, you would think that it's something that you want to have as a backup, but at the same time, pennies are being eliminated. What's next? Is it right? You got to think about where is the future.
Yeah, I think around the world, I think the greenback is still the gold standard. I really do. I think it is. You see gold going up, but you saw we had a lot of volatility in gold. Man, it was losing. This past week it went down almost under 4,000 again. So it's you have volatility. Now, should you have some gold? I always said gold is good for jewelry, but if you have some gold, you have some coins or whatever, not bad. But I would not go heavy into gold for your retirement plan, for your investments. Absolutely not. Now, there'll be people fighting me, but if you look at it, only the past 2 or 3 years, gold has made a nice little run. The history of gold is really T-bill returns with a volatility of aggressive portfolio. So if you listen to what I'm saying, you're getting T-bill returns, but you're taking the risk of aggressive portfolio. If you go back, and I did this with Jeremy Siegel, Dr. Jeremy Siegel, I was speaking at the same event he was speaking at, and he did this presentation. He put gold, and he put cash, and he put a 75-25 portfolio, and the $100 back in 1910, and what it grew. Take inflation out of it. it was millions more in a portfolio than what gold is. Millions.
Wow.
And so you can't compare the two. So if you have some to hedge against, it really doesn't hedge against inflation. But if you have, for some safety, I'm okay with that. But don't go crazy with it. But like we said last year and the last 2 years, interest rates were up because inflation was up. Interest rates were rising. So people were having CDs. Great. But now CD rates are going down. The feds are talking about lowering rates. They might not do it in December, but in the next year, they'll probably do it. They're going to have a new Fed chairman. You're going to see the rates go down.
I love this. This is great news right now. You're giving us a positive outlook, and I didn't ever think about it till the way you just put it when it comes to gold and cash. Like, that's something a lot of people don't realize. You always think, well, gold's always going to keep its value forever.
Yeah.
It's gone up, and it did just have a spike, but now it's come back
down. Don't look at something short term for long term. It's just
that's the best words ever. Don't look at something short term for long term. You can't.
Yeah.
You got to look long term. You got to look at what happens. If you would have bought Apple stock years ago and watched it go, and you had an ounce of gold and where it would be today.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way I envisioned it when you were just telling that story.
Yeah, that's the way it is. If you look at that, even just a portfolio, there was no comparison. Jeremy Siegel just blew it out of the park when he did that chart. It was amazing. So if you're looking at last year, you're probably disappointed this year because rates are down. So you have to have things to make sure that you have income. I was talking about some of the income producers that we have. They're 1 year deals, they're 2 year deals, but they're 8 and 15% to get income on your money. That allows you to leave other monies because you don't have to have as much invested to get the income you need to grow your money. And what you need is really a portfolio that capture market returns. That you might have some dividend stocks in there. You're going to have some growth stocks in there. You're going to have some sectors in there that rotate. And this is important. We have a great portfolio that the managers, what they do is they are going to weigh a little bit heavier on things that they feel with all the research is going to be going up. If it's technology, they'll add more to technology, take it away from communication, take it away from healthcare, or add to healthcare. So that's what they do, and those portfolios are rocking and rolling. So if you don't have, what I always say, Jason, is if we can't, for our fee, make you more money and do a better job for you, then it's not worth to pay us anything. Right,
absolutely.
Yeah. So if we can show you that we can do a better job, then you have our expertise, you have our help, we're looking at your best interest, then it makes sense.
Right. And you talk about the fee, and whatever the fee is, if you're making me more money, the fee's a wash.
I love your thinking, but
that's a wash.
Literally, people will come in sometimes to the office and they're just hung up on fees, and I show them your big fee because we'll do a comparison on portfolios. I put our fees in, I leave their fees in at zero because they're managing it themselves, and I put our fee in, and we're beating them. I said your fee on your portfolio 5 years down the road, ours, with our fee and everything and what we're doing, our portfolio was like $500,000 ahead of theirs. I said, that's your fee right there.
Right. And on top of the fact, you got one brain when you do it for yourself. When you come here to Advantage Retirement Group, you got the whole team. You got everybody here. You got a brainstorm of brain trust of financial planners.
That's a good way to put it. And we have strategic partners, that just do our income planning. That there's 40 of them that are doing our option plays. And that's what you want. You want things that are that I always say you want something that you cannot get on your own.
Right. Absolutely.
You don't want people come in with millions of dollars and they might have a Vanguard. I said, your grandkids could have the same fund that you have right there. I want something that is exclusive, that's institutional, that you can't get on your own. That's what you want. Well, you're listening to Saving the Investor. This has really been a whole different show today. We did a little bit of talking about some politics. Nothing wrong with that because your portfolio, politics matters when it comes to your money.
Right, absolutely. What happens in the government dictates where your money's going to go.
I couldn't have said it better. So listen, we're gonna be closing off pretty soon. But Jason, I appreciate you coming in today and filling in for Pastor John. But is there anything you'd like to say, your closing words before I end it?
I just want to say, as working for you and sitting here with you today, I just want to say that is the opportunity that everybody should want. That 15 minutes. I just spent an hour with you for Saving the Investor. That 15-minute phone call could change someone's life. They need to do it. 239-747-1077. The 1 hour, it motivates me. I'm going to leave here right now. I'm looking into everything. I'm thinking about setting it up right before I walk out the door because that little bit can change somebody's life. And 15 minutes is nothing out of a day. Nothing out of a day if it could change your financial future.
Whoa, I love it. And, you do a great job in the morning. That's a hard job to do, what you do for 3 hours every morning to have to talk, unscripted pretty much. And the interviews you do, you get some pretty big people. You get Byron Donalds in, you get
we had Senator Rick Scott
Senator
this past
Rick
week.
Scott.
We get all your locals. We've had we got a mayor challenge going on right now with 10,000 for the troops, where we're collecting 10,000 cards for the men and women serving overseas for the holiday season.
Yeah.
And I've got Mayor Allers on Fort Myers Beach with over 8,000 cards, and that's a secret. Nobody knows that. You know it first.
Oh, well, now everybody knows
it. There, I put it out. I didn't put it out to everybody now.
But you're going to know, you know this before everybody else knows it next week. So, listen, we're blessed to have you here, and thank you so much. And, again, you're listening to Saving the Investor radio show. I'm Alfie Townsend, and, we do have a TV show, too, right on NBC, right after Meet the Press on Sunday at 11 o'clock, 11 to 11:30. But we did talk a lot about politics today, but we also talked about, how important it is if you didn't know what the job numbers were going to be, right?
Right.
So that's what's great about the market. You don't know. If you knew everything that was going to happen, you would get CD rate returns. But since the markets are unpredictable, in a sense that we don't know what's going to drive the market. We don't know what the earnings are going to be. We didn't know that NVIDIA was going to have an unbelievable earning, right? And it did this past week. And with that, it drove markets up. So that's what's great about the market. If you're not capturing market returns, if you're a little, concerned about the market, there's ways to protect some of your losses in the market and give up some of the upside, but you're not taking all the downside. So there's a whole lot of things out there. If you haven't explored that, we would love to share it with you. Again, our phone number is 239-747-1077. That's 239-747-1077. And we want to thank, again, Jason and all the listeners out there. Have a blessed weekend. Until next week, be blessed.